Metal Tim from bravewords.com, and we've got two of heavy metal royalty in the house, Mr. Glenn Tipton and Ian Hill from the metal gods Judas Priest. Welcome to chilly Toronto. Somebody's ill.
We've been chilly in South America, so chilly Toronto.
Chilly. You guys weathering the storm on this tour?
Yeah. I've had a bit of a chest infection developed, so I'm going to infect the rest of the band and put them through it as well now. One of those delirious nights last night, you know, when you got the flu and you go delirious, but I've made it through, so that was the worst moment. Okay, I'm ready for stage now.
So I'll have to keep this mic at a good distance then.
Yeah, I should do. I would.
Yeah.
I don't think it's infectious. I think it's viral.
Theme for the next record, maybe.
Could be. Yeah, the viral outbreak.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back to Toronto. Some good memories from this city, I presume,
great.
over the years of
Great memories
Priest.
of Toronto, and you know it's a great crowd tonight. We always look forward to playing Canada, and in particular Toronto, and I mean that. You know, they've always been a really supportive crowd, and I always remember when we first got Ripper in the band. You know, tremendous reception and everything. People just understood and went along with that. And it's great. They're a fantastic audience.
Is there something about Canada, trait-wise, that sticks out, that whenever you hear about the country, it's like, oh, yes, I love that about Canada?
Fishing, man. Fishing. I'm a big fisherman,
well,
and I've yet to fish in Canada, so that's something I've still got to look forward to.
We could take you to some fine lakes in northern Ontario that would make you happy.
Take me.
Ian, any fond memories of Canada?
Yes, we love playing up here, you know. I mean, everything about it, not just the people, you know, the country itself. There's that one run, you know, that goes through the Rockies. It's an absolutely beautiful place, you know. And once you come over east, and you've got all the facilities of the huge cities and everything, you know. Yeah, I got great memories of Toronto in particular, you know.
Winnipeg's not close to here, is it?
No, it's
Oh, we're in
it's a
Winnipeg.
little
I was with my
west.
girlfriend, and we got some days off, and we were in a log cabin, and we were warned that a bear had been seen locally, but we wouldn't come across it. They had to tell us. So the first walk we went on, she said, "Is there a bear there?" And there was an old tree root, you know. And I went, "Oh, very funny." So we walked on the bench. She said, "Well, would that be the bear?" And there's a bear on somebody's lawn chewing the grass, and she actually waved at it. I had to get her arm like this and pull it down afterwards because he was chewing something, and he went like that. You know, took a real interest in this big black bear. So that's another memory I have of Canada, and you know, not to wave at bears, not a good plan.
Not with those precious hands.
No.
Well, you're on the Epitaph.
Fun memories, and we've done some long drives in Canada, you know, right up at the front of the tour bus, magnificent scenery, lovely people, lovely country, and we mean that as well, you know, not just saying it because we're here.
So officially you've called this the Epitaph Tour, and I think retirement is so close yet so far. And
Beginning of the end, that's what we say.
beginning of the end. How much self-reflection on the road, or life reflection? Any of that happening?
I think you always dwell, you know, the moments. There's a lot of travel involved in the touring, you know. Every minute we're on stage, and we're playing for about 2.5 hours at the moment, is valuable, and we love it and deal with it and just look forward to it every night. But there's a lot of travel. But, you know, when you do travel, you do reflect through the years. I don't think touring's changed a lot for 3/4 of our career, the early quarter of our career, when we were in transit vans where you could see the road through the floor and you were living from gig to gig. You just about got enough petrol money and a bag of chips to get to the next gig. And then, you know, we moved on to tour buses, the luxurious time. And we prefer to travel by tour bus. If you're flying, you've got to get from the airport to the hotel through security, wait, do this, do that, and then fly. Then at the end, you've got to wait for your bags, and then you've got to get from the hotel, back to the hotel, I mean. Whereas with a tour bus, you walk out of the door, onto the bus, get in your bunk, read a book, watch a movie, and then get out of the bus into the hotel. And so we like to travel with tour buses, and particularly through Canada, where the scenery is so beautiful in places.
Where does the log cabin fit in then?
Then when the management give us a break, they give us a day here or a day there. Otherwise, it's get back on stage.
Few and far between these days.
In all seriousness, do you regret calling it the Epitaph Tour when really it's...
No, because I think people have misinterpreted a lot of what we've said, you know, because we've always said it's our last world tour, and it is our last world tour. You know, that was the statement we made. It takes a big chunk out of your life. It takes at least 18 months. cycle. Whether we do have some breaks in there. I'm not trying to say we work night and day, 24, whatever. But it will be our last world tour. We've also said that if a string of dates were offered us and they made sense, we would consider that. We would consider that, but we'll have to wait and see. We've definitely got another album in us, and we haven't finished this tour by a long chalk yet, so there's still life in the old dogs yet, But at some point, we've got to be realistic, and I think Rob summed it up when he said, if we can pull back a little bit now, we'll give ourselves a longer shelf life, and that's what we want to do.
Well, very well put, very well put. You're also supporting On the Road, this Chosen Few compilation, which is kind of an interesting take on a greatest hits package. And I wanted to turn the tables a little bit and have pose the question, what band would you like to pick the greatest hits of from your past?
The Beatles, really. It's got to be the Beatles. I just went to see All You Need Is Love, Cirque du Soleil performance with the Beatles song. And, parts of it brought a tear to my eyes. I'm a big Beatles fan, always have been. Strange, heavy metal guitar player likes the Beatles. I just do. I love everything they've done. I don't know how those guys put so much together, so many great songs in 7 years. I think it's 7 years. But every song they did was a greatest hit, so any Beatles song, really.
As a guitar player, what did you pull from the Beatles?
Oh, George Harrison's so underestimated, he's not a million notes a second player, but what he did melody-wise, and so how appropriate it was for every song. And he wrote some fantastic My Guitar Gently Weeps songs as well, So I think he was the underestimated Beatle, really, but I got a lot of respect for him and the other guys. Great songwriters.
Mr. Hill.
Yeah, I would have said the Beatles as well, actually. Probably Cream. I mean, they were my all-time idols, when I was starting out. Even bought a Jack Bruce guitar, didn't you? I did, I went out and bought an EB3. It was a pile of crap. But mad for one, because Jack had got one, But I don't know. By then, I was used to playing Fenders and things, and it just.
What did you pull from Cream as a bass player?
Cream, but again, melody. I mean, Jack Bruce is playing. Got a great sense of time as well. So, avant-garde sense of time sometimes. He'll fall into something. Sort of offbeat. And come back in. Of course, he's a great player as well. Good keyboard player as well. And like I say, he's probably all-time idol, old Jack.
Wow. Brilliant musician, absolutely. Any band breakups when you were growing up that really bummed you out? Kind of like the way we are feeling right now. It's like, this guy's gonna break up.
You mean bands like the Beatles?
Like the Beatles.
Well, that was a bit of a disaster, really, wasn't it? It's a shame, really. A lot of good bands do break up. There's ego problems in the band and conflict, and that's the same in every walk of life, every job. If you work in an office, there's always some people you like, some people you don't, some people you fall out with, some people you don't fall out with. It happens, and it's something that's inevitable. I think it's the artistic temperament, and that's going to happen.
Well, speaking of legendary bands, I'm hearing some nasty rumors that the Brits want to put together some kind of a big four. And I wanted to see if you guys could clarify that. Would you be open to having a big four with like the mainstays of British heavy metal, where it all began?
What would that be?
Well, Cream. No. Maiden, Priest, Black Sabbath. Need a comment on the Black Sabbath reunion as well. Any possibility?
I'd certainly consider it. I'd be proud to be a part of that, definitely.
It'd be a great bill, wouldn't it?
I've got a lot of respect for Maiden. I've got a lot of respect for Black Sabbath. They were there same time as us, before us actually. They were responsible for inspiring a lot of, what goes on in heavy metal now. Who was the other one you mentioned?
Well, there's this word, like possibly Maiden, possibly Motorhead. It's the cream of the crop. Right?
Yeah.
There's a short list of British bands that could easily be on that big bill.
I mean, it would be fantastic. I'd certainly be proud to be a part of that.
Did you ever think in 2012 that we may see a new Aussie record with Black Sabbath and Judas Priest putting out a new album?
I'm sure we've got one album in us, at least one album. But our problem at the moment is to dig up enough time to get back in the studio. We've already done some writing, and now with the introduction of Richie, we've got to sit down and write with Richie as well. So there's so many options open to us, And I love to record. We all love to record, and it's exciting when you start to write. You never know what you're going to end up with by the end of the day. Another Priest classic. We've got some great songs written already, which are more or less our way of saying thank you to the fans through the years, anthems, etc. So it's only the beginning of the end, and that's about the best way to sum it up.
No tears yet, right?
No.
I couldn't help but think about the whole Painkiller era when you guys brought in Scott Travis, kind of like the new kid on the block, and it really kick-started the Judas Priest brand again. And I'm thinking, well, they've got another new kid on the block, and maybe we'll see part 2 or something that aggressive, something with that much energy where it's blown way out of proportion.
Yeah, well, Scott injected so much energy in the band when he joined us with Painkiller that it helped us inspired us to write the Painkiller album, We've got the same thing now with Richie, he's a young guy. And there's no disrespect on anybody. If I left the band and Richie joined, he's a young guy that has different perspective on things. Where we'll often say, well, we don't do that. Richie will go, you've got to do that, man. You've got to do it because. And you go, you're right there, So it's good to really be energised to a certain extent now. And probably it's at the time in our career where we need that, which is so it's a good thing. It's a really good thing.
How has he affected you?
Oh, as Glenn says, you've got boundless energy, And
Keeps showing up here, and then he's up on the drum riser, and then he's over there.
And it rubs off, it rubs off on you, the enthusiasm and all, Not that we aren't enthusiastic about it, but like when you get someone who's, I think of our age away, as young as he is, and like Glenn says, he's here, there, and everywhere.
And he's just blended into the band, and yet he does his own thing. You'll see for yourself tonight. And he's such a great guy. He's just brought so much to the band, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think if we hadn't found Richie, we wouldn't be out on the road now.
Well, I was able to witness Judas Priest at Wacken, and I was astounded. The presence, you guys, just pardon the pun, you delivered the goods. It was overwhelming. It was really like a grand experience.
Thanks, and a lot of it is down to Richie. I mean, we love Judas Priest music, as you know. We love heavy metal. We've been proud to play heavy metal all these years. And we're still there doing it, and it's wonderful to be able to go out there and hear the audience sing along with the verses, the choruses, even the lead breaks. It's a great moment, and every time we take that final bow, I can assure you, I'm sure it crosses all our minds. This is going to be very difficult to give up, because there's such a great rapport between us and the audience. It's not us and the audience, it's the whole thing. It's an event, it's a heavy metal event when Priest play. And more so than ever, the reactions have been incredible and heartwarming, quite emotional.
Well, let's keep this on and up, and thank you for the great memories. Let's hope they continue to come along.
All right, Tim.
Okay.
Cheers.
You're welcome.
So much.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.